What is poppin', fight fans? And welcome to the first annual Mystic Hour MMA Awards show. I know it said tune in tonight, but tonight is already here, and we are here. We have arrived. Nick, Happy New Year's, brother.
Happy New Year, man. I thought 2020 was never going to end, and honestly, it doesn't feel like it has.
We're just in 2020 Deluxe, apparently, because it's not stopping.
Yep.
A lot of the same things are going on.
The madness continues.
The madness continues for sure, but we're not going to concentrate on that negative because we have a lot of positive and a lot of awards to give out tonight, and I'm very excited for this. Last year was an amazing year fight-wise. We had so many great events. Every weekend, the UFC blessed us with a fight card, a full fight card. We lost some fights to COVID. We lost some fights to injuries, some weight cuts. But at the end of the day, we had amazing performances by these fighters. And of course, we appreciate the UFC, Bellator, and a couple other promotions who still put together fights. And tonight, we're going to give out some awards. But before we do that, Nick, how was your New Year's? How was the time? I know you were out of the state. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was great just to get away, change of scenery. Really got a chance to sort of comatose, disconnect. And, now I need a vacation from my vacation because I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, but I'm still I'm still in that lazy vacation mode. So I really need to step my game up. And we got to step our game up. We got events coming up already this weekend, I think.
We got one coming up next weekend, and then we got...
next weekend. And then we got the big one on the 23rd.
Yeah, on the 23rd, yeah. But we got 3 events this month. Lord, and they are announcing fights after fights after fights. We got a lot in February. We got 3 title fights on 1 card in March. It is going to be an eventful year for sure, and I'm excited about it. And of course, we're going to talk about that on our next podcast. But tonight is the awards for these fighters, for the amazing gentlemen and women that have done such an amazing job last year, put on performances. And we're going to start off with, let's just get into it, the breakthrough fighter of the year. This was a hard decision because there were so many fighters who took a bunch of fights, some who made impacts, some who didn't maybe have the best records, and some guys who went undefeated. But this was a hard one to pick. We came together and we actually had the same decision on this one. And if you'd like to announce it, Nick, the floor is yours.
All right. We messed up his name so many times last year, so let's make sure we get it right. Khamzat Chimaev.
Khamzat Chimaev, congratulations, Khamzat. You are the breakthrough fighter of the year. We will send you your Mystic Award sometime in the future. It may not be this year, might be next year. You're going to get it at some point, brother. Don't smash me. But Nick, anything you'd like to say about Mr. Khamzat?
Yeah, I mean, this guy, he's incredible. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to perhaps question his opponents and everything like that. I mean, but this guy just started too, and the wow, look at you with the wine glass and everything.
Hey, this is a award show. We got to be fancy.
This is a award show. I know. Waiter. But no, he's just incredible, man. And this guy, honestly, he looks like he could already be in the top of the rankings and the divisions that he's capable of fighting. And this guy just looks unstoppable. We haven't seen any big names against him yet, but nobody, I'm sure, wants to fight him. I mean, Leon Edwards, I think, is actually kind of happy that this didn't go through, especially with the hiatus that he had. So, once that fight finally does come to fruition, then I think we'll actually see what Khamzat is really made of, and I think people are going to continue to be impressed with him.
Absolutely. What an amazing year he had. We had Khabib retire last year, and Khabib retires, and another Dagestanian comes in and takes over. And he had such a wonderful year, going undefeated, finishing guys in both weight classes, middleweight and welterweight. And these guys were not some slugs off the street. We had Rice McKee, who came from, I forget the Cage Fighting Championships, who was a double champion, dominated him, went up to 185, had an 18-second knockout, barely got hit in any of those fights. I think there was a combination of maybe, 2 or 3 strikes that he absorbed in those fights. What an amazing year. And all his fights. And unfortunately, we get to see him at the end of the year against Leon Edwards, as you said. We're supposed to see him this month as well. Fight got canceled. He got COVID. We're sending all our well wishes to Khamzat, of course, to get better. He was having some lung issues still. He was still dealing with that problem. But wonderful, wonderful year. He's definitely the breakthrough fighter of last year, and I feel that he will maybe get a championship fight this year. Maybe. What weight class, Nick? Let me ask you. What weight class do you think Khamzat's going to be fighting in this year, championship-wise? Do you think he can be a double champ?
I mean, I think they're still going to give him a lot more fights before they give him any title fights. Maybe by the end of the year, he gets one of them. Double champ this year, I don't see it happening, but in the future, absolutely. I mean, this guy, he can fight. I mean, he's got quite a wide range. I think welterweight is where he'll be at. I'd like to see him there. I mean, obviously with Leon Edwards coming up, I think that's what's going to be his domain. I mean, but there's a lot of guys that he's got to clear out through the top. A lot of guys on the top, they got to kind of clear out each other too. You know, like you got, you know, sort of what we had in the, not in the welterweight. What was the, oh my goodness, the one that Habib vacated right now.
The lightweight division.
Lightweight, right? Lightweight division. How we kind of have this whole, you know, bracket going on who's gonna, you know, continue and who's gonna sort of drop off. I think we've got that going on in the welterweight, but he's certainly going to be climbing up there and I think honestly coming out on top, dominating. Big names to go against, but he's definitely capable of it.
Yeah, and I hope they still keep that Leon Edwards fight at some point. I know Leon hasn't fought in a long time. It's not going to hurt him to wait another month. I think they can book that fight pretty fast. Two guys who don't struggle to make that weight, they can get that together. Here's some breaking news for you. There's going to be fans at the UFC 257 in Abu Dhabi. Fans are officially back. Not to say they're going to pack the stadium, but it's going to be a good amount of them. So UFC is starting to ring that in. So that's going to be pretty cool. So hopefully maybe by the time Khamzat comes back in, there'll be some fans. We'll love to see that. They'll get to know him because the fans have not seen him fight in an arena. It's been in during this quarantine time where there's no fans. Right. So that's going to be awesome to see him fight and to see Leon Edwards fight as well. And I want to give a late award to Leon Edwards for 2019 Fighter of the Year. He beat a lot of people. He ran through Rafael Dos Anjos, Donald Cerrone, a lot of big wins. So 2019 Leon Edwards, you definitely deserve that. I know we couldn't find you this year, but it's okay. You still hopefully will fight this year. Any honorable mention you want to give for Breakthrough Fighter of the Year?
You know, it's a good question. Like, he's the one that really stuck up in my mind. I know that we have other people. Actually, I don't even want to give this honorable mention because he was my candidate for one of the other awards. So I'll just leave it at that.
You're right.
But definitely a lot of people. Definitely a lot of people that to look forward to. A lot of people that that you know the UFC was able to produce in a year where we lacked a lot of sports for quite some time. You know, I'm glad that everybody got the opportunity to tune in and you know, even if as a casual fan or a new fan, you're really like, this was last year was for all the bad things that happened last year. This was a great year to get into UFC because there's so much talent that was exposed and just the future looks bright.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and say honorable mention to everybody that won on the Contender and got into the UFC because all these guys are just coming in there, putting on great performances. And they, as soon as they get the opportunity to get in the cage, they're putting on great performances as well. To the point where we saw a guy in Alex Perez who ended up fighting for a UFC title. Unfortunately, he didn't come up. He came up short against Davison Figueiredo, but a guy who came off the Contender fighting for a title. So I'd like to give the breakthrough fighters to the anybody who was on the Contender series because you guys definitely deserve that. And yeah, definitely the Contender series people. Our next award. Let me just adjust this here. Sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm going to announce the next award. There we go. Just had to fix that. Our next award is going to be Event of the Year. We had so many events this year. Countless, almost 4 every month, 4 to 5 every single month. There's so many cards we could name that were amazing, from finishes to fights of the year to the last card we had of last year was one of the most amazing cards I've ever watched, period. And that's without an audience. So that's huge on every promotion, not just UFC, Bellator too. They put on some great events, but we both came to very, I wouldn't say easy, but we both just came to that decision. It wasn't too hard. It was the first card out of quarantine. Actually, the second card because there was one in Brazil. So this is the first pay-per-view card out of quarantine. Nick, floor is yours.
Yeah, UFC 249.
There it is. Clap it up for UFC
UFC
249.
249.
Ferguson
It was
against
honestly one of the
Gaethje.
best cards, not just of last year, but of any card I've seen, because I mean every fight was just that entertaining, and not only that, but we really got to see what Justin Gaethje was made of. We got to see who else was in that? We got to see Francis Ngannou with his massive massive knockout of Jairzinho Rozenstruik. We got to see Henry Cejudo, Henry Cejudo, get his belt and supposedly hang up the gloves, at least for now, at least for UFC. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, it was a real barn burner. It was an entertaining fight from beginning to end, even the preliminaries. It was. I think Pettis fought on that one as well. No,
Pettis found Donald
that was
Cerrone in a preliminary fight.
That's right. That was the main fight for the preliminary rounds.
Yep.
But yeah, it was honestly like, I mean, we had a lot of good cards, and the one that we just finished off 2020 was great. But this one, I think it's undisputable that as far as 2020 cards go, this one had to be the top one.
For sure, and I couldn't agree with you more. This was a main event I was looking forward to so much. I said before I think that was one of our first podcasts. We previewed that card, and I'm just like, if Justin Gaethje goes in there and he's smart and doesn't get into some kind of a war, he can win that fight. That was Justin Gaethje's perfect performance. My Lord, you couldn't fight anybody more perfect. Tony Ferguson was on a 12-fight win streak in a lightweight division. He was supposed to fight Khabib on that card, but we still got Gaethje versus Ferguson, and nobody was upset. Everybody could not wait. We were literally biting our nails because we were so like losing our minds, not be able to watch fights, sports. Everything was canceled. Not one thing was going on. That fight got placed in 1 month and got changed to April. It was supposed to be at the end of March. They changed it to April 20 something. I forget the exact date, but we were still like iffy if it was going to happen. And then fight week came. Everybody was weighing in. They weren't going to do it with any fans. And this was this is the second card we watched with no fans. And what a card to watch. Just like you said, Henry Cejudo retiring that night, beating a guy who's never been finished in the UFC, in Dominic Cruz, TKOing him in the second round, which was unbelievable. Such a performance. Then he goes on to retire. We had the Ferguson and Gaethje, of course, in the main event. Cerrone and Pettis in the prelim, and then Francis Ngannou just showing you that he deserves that heavyweight title shot against Stipe Miocic for a second time. He proved it in a quick knockout against a hard striker in Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I think I got it. Jairzinho, my God, Rozenstruik. When I have him on, I better say his name right because I don't want any trouble with him for sure. But
no, you don't want any trouble with that big man.
None of that. We had Greg Hardy opening the card against Yorgan De Castro. That was a good fight to watch as well. Seeing Greg Hardy kind of make his way towards the up rankings of the heavyweight division, and he ended up fighting a lot of times this year. But that was such an amazing card. We have definitely another honorable mention in UFC 256, which we saw in this past December with Davison Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno headlining that card. That definitely was one.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, if it wasn't for, I also actually no, that's gonna give up another man. I can't give up these nominations. It's amazing how everything's intertwined. It's amazing. But I was gonna say, I think it was 248. It was 248 when Adesanya fought against Romero, right?
Romero, yeah, that's right, 248.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for that, for lack of a better phrase, dog shit finale. I mean, that was an incredible card too. I mean, possibly one of the nominations that we'll discuss later on was on that card as well. But yeah, I mean, 249 had to be it for me. I mean, I just thoroughly, for the most part, enjoyed all the cards last year. Even fight nights, even the events that weren't pay-per-view. Everything was excellent. I mean, you got to see some guys like Glover Teixeira really shine. It's just nice to see these opportunities granted, and that you don't have to actually chuck up or clear your bank to get the good fights just from pay-per-views. Fight nights were incredible too this year, but 249 definitely takes the cake.
100%. Such amazing cards last year, and such amazing knockouts we had last year as well on every single card. My Lord, that had to be one of the hardest things to pick if you guys follow me on Instagram, you can see the pics that me and Nick made. They were pretty hard. People were upset saying I should have picked a specific knockout in, I believe it was Joaquin Buckley. Was that knockout amazing? 100%. That was one of the most amazing knockouts that I've ever seen. But I thought about this award a little differently, and I think Nick thought about this award a little differently as well. Nick, if you want to go first, the floor is yours. But let me remove this first before the floor is officially yours. There you go.
Okay. So knockout of the year?
Yes, sir.
All right. Knockout of the year for me has to be Cody Garbrandt against Assunção. I mean, just
right there.
I've never seen a knockout right before the bell like that. It was literally, it was almost simultaneous with the bell. I had to watch it probably about 18 times just to like see the difference between when the knockout occurred and when the bell rang. But it is honestly one of the most delicious delicious knockouts I've ever seen. Like just the timing of it was incredible. It really was incredible. There it is, the stare down. He actually waited, and then he just like, it's almost like if he had a play clock and he was just looking at it. He's like, all right, 3, 2, 1.5, and then just boom, just knocked out Assunção cold and nasty.
That was my runner-up for sure. If it wasn't that one, if it wasn't who I picked, it definitely would have been that one. Just like you said, shot clock knockout. He was just waiting for him, just literally waiting for him as the judges did the timekeeper did the click for 10 seconds. He just backed up into the cage, waited, and threw the hardest right hook that he could ever throw. And we know Cody Garbrandt has so much power, and Javier Assunção is not one to get knocked out. Like, honestly, if you look at his past fights, he's either getting submitted or decisioned, if anything. He doesn't really lose that much. But for him to get viciously KO'd like that, that just shows you how much power Cody Garbrandt has. But that was not my choice for knockout of the year. I thought about this thoroughly. This man right here already had such an amazing year. And of course, you know what? He's just like, you know what? I'm gonna end this year on some crazy note. You know, I'm just gonna go for it. Like, who would ever think that from the bottom you could knock somebody out off your knees? My KO of the year is Kevin Holland's knockout of Ronaldo Jacare Souza. Oof, man, it hurt me to see Jacare get knocked out like that. Not going to lie, he is one of my favorite fighters to watch ever. I've been watching him since his Strikeforce days, since his Dream days, Pride days. He's been fighting for such a long time, but everybody knows if Jacare gets on top of you, it's a wrap. At some point, he's going to submit you. Kevin Holland said, absolutely not, my friend. The game has no.
Gave him that Matumbo wave.
The game has changed, and I have a whole different mindset of how I'm going to do this. He got up from his back. I mean, he struck him from his back. Jacare took it and was just like, whoa, what was that? As soon as he was just like thinking about it, Kevin Holland came right up on his knees, boom, hit him again, and then he just got on top of him, and Jacare was completely out. To the point where he stood up and he went right back down. Which sucks to see, I don't want to see a fighter that hurt, but this part of the game, he completely knocked him out. He hit from the back. For me, it's a difficulty of that knockout because that's very hard to do. I get the Joaquin Buckley thing, the style points. Of course, I give you that. But for me,
of course,
difficulty of a KO. Kevin Holland definitely taking that one for me. What's a couple honorable mention of knockouts this year that was pretty good?
O'Malley.
Sean O'Malley. Oh my God, the O'Malley knockout against Eddie Wineland. Wow.
Yeah.
He just completely obliterated him.
Obliterated
him in that first round. Made it look very easy. Another one that some people forget is Davison Figueiredo against Joseph Benavidez earlier in the year. He knocked him out pretty clean in the first round, and that doesn't really happen to Joseph. The only person who ever knocked out Joseph Benavidez in the first round was Demetrius Johnson, and Demetrius Johnson is one of the greatest of all times. Davison Figueiredo had lost his previous fight, I believe, to Jussier Formiga, or the fight before that to Jussier Formiga. So people were looking at him and were just like, we don't know about this guy. Goes in there, knocks out Joseph Benavidez, and looks godly in that fight. So that's one knockout that definitely deserves an honorable mention. What's another couple knockouts? I'm trying to think that were pretty good in the last
Hmm.
year.
Let's see.
There
I
was
know
a
Sean
couple.
O'Malley's a knockout
Shout out Molly
king.
for
I mean,
sure was there. Cody, Joaquin Buckley. Did we have a couple? Oh my God, Hazim Chimaev when he
oh
knocked
my
out.
God, three of them
Yeah,
basically. No,
three.
yeah, three of
Well,
them.
no,
Yeah,
well, the complete KO was when he went up to
right.
185. That was disgusting in 18 seconds. That's definitely, you got to put that up there. And he knocked him out stiff, completely stiff. So that was nasty. There were a couple on the contender series as well, but I'm not going to add that because that's not full UFC fights yet. But a lot of good fights
Mhm.
for sure. But let's move on to the next.
Oh my goodness! Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we do, Calvin
Go ahead.
Cater
Against Jeremy Stevens.
against Stevens. Yeah, that was
Ooh.
UFC 249. UFC
Yes,
249. You know,
UFC 249.
they had the best.
Another fight on that card that was amazing, so amazing. I forgot about that knockout. Jeremy Stevens, another guy, doesn't really get knocked. Like he's been knocked out, I think, twice in his career. Once against Yves Jabin, not Yves Jabin. Oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. Doug Jitsu. Yves Edwards knocked him out once before,
Mhm.
and then Jose Aldo caught him with a body shot, but like completely knocked out like that. Woof, that was a rival of Calvin Kattar right
Yeah.
there. And he does fight Max Holloway next Saturday. That's going to be a really, really good fight. Everybody should
Yes,
definitely
it
watch
is.
that. Definitely should watch that. We are going to move on to our next award, and this one is going to be we couldn't agree on this one. We both had two different opinions here, which is fine, and we can explain them here as well. We are going to do commentator of the year. We have two different choices. Nick, I'm going to let you talk about your man's. Who's my man's too? But I had a different opinion. Got to do a
Well,
drum
I
roll.
mean,
Commentator,
I
baby.
just gotta go.
Commentator.
Paul Felder.
Paul Felder, the Irish Dragon, is the Mystic Hour MMA Award winner for Commentator of the Year. That's Nick's choice. Go ahead, Nick, you talk about Felder. Wait.
Yeah, I just think what happened. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Actually, no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that. I mean, I just think with with the whole situation that I had with Jared Gordon earlier this year, back in one of the fight nights, I thought that was really cool. I mean, commentating and being a fighter, you know, your focus is obviously your main focus is fighting, but to be able to have the skill to also commentate, it's not an easy job. I know a lot of people think that, like, how hard can it be? You're just on the sidelines talking. You got to be really quick with your comments. You got to be articulate. You got to know what you're talking about. And obviously, being a fighter, his knowledge is just tremendous. And to stop commentating in an event to help coach a friend, I mean, that was just incredible. I think he went full suit underneath the jogging suit and everything for him. And I mean, it just took a lot. It just goes to show what a dynamic, not just a dynamic fighter, but a dynamic person, and what a great person Paul Felder really is.
And Paul Felder actually has a little message for us. Paul Felder dropped us a little video. It's Paul Felder right here.
Just want to thank Nick and Darnell from the Mystic Hour podcast for giving me the Mystic Hour Commentator of the Year award. It means a lot, guys. Thank you for the recognition. I appreciate it very much.
Hey, the Irish Dragon in the house. Thank you so much for that, Paul Felder. We appreciate you. We appreciate the work that you do in the UFC. We appreciate you for making weight for a fight within 4 to 5 days and then commentating on the contender series the next week. Not that many guys can say they can go in there and do something like that. So kudos to you, Paul Felder. Love it. Amazing. We appreciate you. Thank you for the video. And we're going to have you on soon, and we're going to get to talk to you. We can't wait to do that. That's going to be awesome. We'll talk about that more later on. We'll announce that on the page. But thank you, Paul Felder. My choice for commentator of the year, this man lives down here in Boca Raton, Florida. He's originally from Boston, Massachusetts. He is a Patriots fan like I am. He is one of my favorite commentators from going back. Well, he transitioned because he used to be an analyst for ESPN Live on MMA Live on ESPN a long time ago. I remember watching it. I'm just like, man, that guy has a voice that you just cannot ignore.
Mm-hmm.
It is there. He puts such passion into all his words that he says. Even when you hear him talk on his podcast with Kenny Florian, you guys should watch that. Kenny Florian, John Anik. I just revealed my pick. But they have their podcast. I can't take it back now. They have their podcast. Every time he's on there with DC, Paul Felder, Dan Hardy, doesn't matter who you put him on a show with, he's always going to do his thing. He's always going to show so much passion to what he does. He writes the most beautiful stories about these fighters. And when you hear him speak, it's just unbelievable. He did a beautiful piece on Khabib and his dad that literally brought tears to my eyes. He is my favorite commentator over them all. John Anik is my commentator of the year. Congratulations, John Anik. We appreciate you so much. Got to clap it up for him. Actually, John Anik dropped a little video for us accepting this award.
Hey guys, UFC commentator John Anik here in my office, and just wanted to reach out and thank Mystic Nation, Nick and Darnell, and everybody involved with the Mystic Hour. Thanks for naming me your commentator of the year for 2020. I don't have a lot of trophies around these parts, so I appreciate the acknowledgement and the distinction very much, and I wish you guys all the best with the show. But seriously, this means a lot to me, and hope to cross your wake in the not too distant future. Have a great 2021. Thank you guys for the recognition. We appreciate
it. God, so crisp. So crisp.
Look at that. Oh. Look how crisp he was there just speaking.
I need some lessons, man. I need some lessons. That is, there's nothing crisper than John Anik's voice. I think that's, I mean, like his voice is so crisp, you can use it to iron your shirts. I swear to God.
I might need him today. Lord, he just so amazing in the way he speaks, so eloquent. I met him in Vegas before a couple of years back, and he was so nice to me. He said, hey, listen, here's my email. If you need help with anything, talk to me. I got you. I'll help you with some stuff and give you some knowledge. And I'm like, thank you so much, man. He was such an honor to meet him. I'm so happy he re-signed with the UFC for many years to come. He's a guy who had to stay away from his family for a large amount of time because he had to keep quarantining for these fights all the time. He had 3 kids, 2 girls, 1 boy. And for him to be away from his family for that amount of time, my Lord, God bless his heart for doing something like that. John Anik, my guy, commentator here for me. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for dropping us that video. We appreciate you so much. All right, let's move on to the next category. And we are going to go with Coach of the Year. This one definitely was pretty hard because we had so many guys from different camps just doing such an amazing job with their fighters. A lot of camps from Team Elevation, from Ruka in California, from Jackson Wink, from Fortis MMA down in Texas with Kevin Holland, from American Top Team down here, Mike Brown in Coconut Creek, from Sanford MMA, which is also in Deerfield Beach, Henry Hooft. So many guys did such an amazing job this year. And of course, we appreciate every single coach that was there for their fighters, leaving their families. I know COVID, they had to be there for 2 weeks to quarantine. We appreciate you guys. But Nick, take the stage. Who is your Coach of the Year?
Somebody that you just watch him, once he steps inside the cage, the way he talks to his fighters, the way that he motivates them, the way that he keeps them in check. I'm going to have to go with Trevor Whitman.
Trevor Whitman. Clap it up for Trevor Whitman. We got to get a clap for Trevor Whitman. Clap it up for him. Man. Go ahead. You want to say something about Trevor?
Like I said, he just exudes everything that a coach should be. He instills confidence in his fighters. He's also the ones to balance them, when they're getting too ahead of themselves, cool them down, say, hey, you know what? Bring them back to the reality of the situation and lets them know that anything is possible, and that just like you've been given something, it could just be it can just be as quickly taken away. So I appreciate that. It's something that it's almost like when you see the way he talks to his fighters, it's almost like he's coaching you. No matter what you're doing in your life, everything that he says, you can relate it to outside of the octagon. So I got to go with him. I think he's a great fighter. It showed this year, a lot of success this year with his fighters. And I think he's going to continue being successful as well next year. I mean, this year. No, geez, we're already in next year. This year.
It's 2021. Still feels like the same year, right?
Yeah, right.
Trevor Whitman, there are so many things I can say about him from the years and years that I've watched him with his fighters, from Nate Marquardt to Justin Gaethje that he has now, Kamaru Usman even that he helps coach as well. So many guys that he just speaks to them like it's his son. And I feel like I'm his son. And Trevor Whitman is not even that old of a guy. But you just feel that way, just like, I got to do this for my dad. I have to concentrate. I have to make sure I'm putting my combination together well. Justin Gaethje was such an uncontrollable guy before he fought in the UFC. And for Trevor Whitman to put him where he is now and to such a controlled fighter and to a guy who takes his time, not brawling as much, that shows you how amazing of a coach that he is. Another thing, too, that he's done and that he's developing that I think is so awesome is MMA gloves that cover the fingertips, because there's such a big issue with eye pokes. We saw that happen in the Daniel Cormier fight. We saw that happen in any John Jones fight that you watch. There's always a finger poke problem.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Stipe. There's a lot of fighters who literally have to be out for a year. Nick Lenz literally was out for a year and a half. He had to have eye surgery because he got poked in the eye. And Trevor Whitman is developing a glove for MMA fighters to be able to not be able to poke people in the eye. So that's awesome of him. I think he's such a creative and smart human being. So much love for Trevor Whitman. Such a good guy. He's on the UFC broadcast to break some things down. They just added him, I think about a year ago, something like that. So appreciate Trevor Whitman. That is Nick's choice for Coach of the Year. For me, my Coach of the Year, I appreciate him so much because I talk to him every other day. He always gives me insights of what he's doing with his fighters and what he has planned for when he goes in there. I don't say nothing, obviously. I don't go and blab stuff out, but he's just very honest, very blunt. He only trains specific people. Like, he has to have that chemistry with you in order for him to work with you, but he's trained champions. He took Michael Bisping to a middleweight championship. He made BJ Penn defend his lightweight title so many times. He got BJ Penn up there. He trained Chris Cyborg to get a championships in 3 different promotions, from Strikeforce to Bellator to the UFC. And now he has under his belt Mackenzie Dern and Cheeto Vera, who have had amazing years this past year and a year before that. He's such an amazing guy, such a good guy, good-hearted guy. My Coach of the Year is Mr. Jason Perillo of the Ruka Gym, doing it for a long time. Jason, appreciate you so much. Such a good coach. I've had him on my Instagram lives before. We're gonna do some more stuff down the road. Of course, he'll be on 100%. He's such an amazing human being. You guys should definitely follow him on Instagram. He's a fun-loving guy. Loves to cook. Loves his fighters. Loves to make sure they're improving in every aspect of their game. Took a girl like Mackenzie Dern, who was predominantly 100% a grappler, and made her into a girl who feels comfortable standing. First time she got into that cage, she was just like, I'm going straight to the ground. I'm not even going to try to sound anybody. Now she's slinging and begging for 3 rounds with a girl who was a former champion in Invicta Championship. So definitely always makes a fighter better. We appreciate you, Coach Jason Perillo. So Coaches of the Year, Jason Perillo and Trevor Whitman. We appreciate you guys. You guys, we will send you awards sometime in the near future. But we got some more awards. We're not done here yet. We got a couple more left. I actually have one personal one that I want to give out. This was performance of the year. And Nick, I think you can agree with me on this one, especially for the reason being, I don't know. For some reason, I was so mixed in with what performance to pick and all this stuff. But I just wanted to highlight somebody specific. I wanted to give a special Performance of the Year award to this person because he went in a fight and he fought somebody below him in the rankings. He was having issues getting a fight. UFC was having trouble booking him, but he ended up getting something. He fought somebody 3 rankings below him. In the first 30 seconds of that fight, he tore his ACL in both knees, Jesus Christ. And he fought all 3 rounds and dominated all 3 rounds and had such a great performance. It was Fight of the Year. Fought such a tough guy in Shane Burgos. I just wanted to highlight this real quick. Josh Emmett wanted to give him Performance of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a really good one. There was a lot of other good ones as well, Nick. If you were to say Performance of the Year, who would you have chosen?
Performance of the Year. I think I have to not an effort to give away, I guess, one of the other nominations, but I think I have to give it to Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I think that she was completely overlooked in that fight. Not to say that she won it, but the numbers are there to make that argument. I think Joanna is just this person that she doesn't give up. She doesn't. She's not where she was at a couple years ago when she was really on top of the game, but she performed very, very well, and I hope to see her back very soon. Glad that she took the rest of the year off, that she got to basically disconnect a little bit. But but Joanna's still a beast, man, and I hope that Joanna doesn't get robbed of opportunities because she for me, that's my performance of the year. The way that she was able to fight against Weili Zhang and keep her on her toes throughout the entire fight. An accomplishment that not every fighter can say that they have. If I had to come up with somebody off the top of my head, it had to be JJ.
Nice. I would, another person that I would say as well for Performance of the Year would be Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje for putting. I know we talked about his coach. My Lord, what a massive! We talked about his coach, and we talked about that card that he was on. What a masterful performance that he put on against a guy like Tony Ferguson, who not that many people have said they've beaten in their career. I know Tony's on a 2-fight losing streak, but he was on a 12-fight losing streak before, and he wasn't fighting any slouches.
Winning.
He was winning against guys like Anthony Pettis. Who did he beat before that? He who's of people in the lightweight division, which is one of the best divisions in all of MMA. The lightweight division, the men's lightweight division, is unbelievably crazy. So I definitely, Justin Gaethje gets a Performance of the Year as well. Somebody else that I want to give Performance of the Year to is Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno, who fought somebody as tough as Davison Figueiredo and didn't back down. Won two rounds, arguably 3 rounds against him, and not that many people can do. Uh-oh. Did that go off? Did you guys hear that?
Yes, we did.
I'm so sorry, guys. My computer.
We're definitely not getting Performance of the Year.
We're not getting Performance of the Year with that. I'm sorry. I apologize. But against guys like Davidson Figueiredo, he could have won 2 or 3 rounds, arguably, there against such an opponent. So Brandon Moreno, I know he didn't win. It was a draw, but definitely he can get a Performance of the Year.
Yeah, this is true. I think especially having the quick turnaround. I think it was 21 days between that title fight against Figueiredo and his last one. The way that he was able to prepare, the way that he didn't get to, lose confidence going against an absolute beast like Davison Figueiredo. He's also had a commendable year as well.
Absolutely. And it is time to move on to the next award. This one is, I think you kind of just spoken on it, and this was kind of a hard decision to make because there's been so many just incredible fights this year. So many fight of the night, so many things I can rewatch that I've already rewatched because I'm just like, wow, what a fight that was. I need to watch that again. But in specific, there was one fight that we could not stop talking about and we could not stop looking at. This is the award for the fight of the year. Nick, would you like to do the honors in announcing the fight of the year? I tried to get them on. It was hard, they're very busy people, but it's okay. Nick, go ahead, take the honor.
It's got to be Weili Zhang against Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
That's right, Weili Zhang, and look at those faces right there. Do you see that?
Jesus.
My Lord,
look at that!
What a war that was! What a war that was! They went in there, 2 ladies. 115 pounds. Joanna cut back down 115. She fought Valentina for the 125-pound title, but she was like, you know what? I can still whoop these girls at 115 pounds. And she went in there and gave Weili the fight of her life.
Yep. And here's hoping that she gets that fight again. I mean, I know there's a lot of talk about Namajuna stepping in and everything, but I honestly feel that Joanna is deserving of a rematch. And I feel like just the fans are deserving of a rematch. That had to be not just the greatest fight of the year, but one of the greatest fights of all time. I mean, it was just an absolute war, that fight from beginning to end.
Yeah, who did you originally score that fight for?
I mean, I don't think I necessarily I'm kind of biased because obviously Joanna Jacek is one of my favorite fighters. I wasn't necessarily upset with the result, but I mean the numbers were there for Joanna to win. I guess on a better day, I think her appearance after the fight with all the contusions and hematomas and everything, I think that is necessary. I think that perhaps weighed into the decision of the fight. But as far as numbers, it wasn't really that far off. And actually, in some of the statistics, if I remember correctly, Joanna actually had some of the better numbers.
Yeah, she definitely beat her in striking. I think she had more significant strikes.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as damage goes, everybody watches fights differently. Joanna had that
Yeah, exactly.
huge hematoma on her head that was literally another head on top of her head. Unbelievable. The
Yeah.
fact that she fought with that for after the third round is unbelievable. Some guys would just tap out and be like, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
Can't do this
No thanks.
anymore. I'm out of here. They stuck in there. Welly was hurt a couple of times, and we haven't even seen her get challenged in the UFC at all. Everybody she's fought, she's completely dominated until she fought Joanna. Even I thought she was going to dominate Joanna, and she did not at all.
No.
It was a
I
very
actually
close
have
fight.
the numbers here. It's crazy. So total strikes was 196 to Zhang's 170. Significant strikes 186 to 65. The only advantage that Weili had over Joanna Jacek was
Takedown.
she had one takedown compared to Joanna's zero. So
Yep, she got smart.
I
And
mean,
it's
like
smart.
I said, I think it was more the damage that was inflicted and the visible, or I suppose the tangible evidence that sort of swayed the results of that fight. Not to say
Yeah,
that Zhang didn't perform well, but I mean the numbers are there for you to see.
for sure. And Welly got that takedown in the fifth round where judges watch the most, especially if they feel especially if they feel that thank you. Especially if they feel that it's tied, like it's 2-2, because some fights you look at it just like, man, I don't know who's winning. I have no idea who's winning. And Welly got that takedown on Joanna, and I felt like right there, she took the cake. She did what she had to do.
Yeah.
Boom, she won that fight. I would love to see it again. I think it would be just as much as a war. Two girls who are very hard to finish. Welly's never been finished. Joanna's only been finished once by Rose Namajunas. I would love to see that fight. Any other fights that you would think could have got that fight of the year as well? As there were so many fights that were amazing this year.
I'd have to think about it. I mean, Justin Gaethje, like you said, against Ferguson, but I'm trying to think of fights that were just back and forth.
That Davidson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno for sure.
Yeah, Davidson Figueiredo, Brandon Moreno.
Josh Emmett and Shane Burgos was amazing as well.
Josh Emmett. That was the another one that I was gonna say.
That was a really good one.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot. I have to go back through the list and see, but there was actually a lot of good barn burners this year that kind of left us like. I mean, we were upset a lot this year with the referee call. I mean, with the judge calls.
A lot of judge calls.
So I mean, a lot of judge calls that I was gonna say that we were upset with because we felt that the fights were that close. I guess that they were that close that we were given the capability to even feel upset. So I can't think of right off the top of my head right now what those fights were, but I know that we have to like go back and listen to the old episodes of this podcast and figure them out. But there was definitely plenty, I'm sure.
Yeah, even the Max Holloway and Volkanovski part 2 was a good fight, a very good fight, and a judging that was crazy in my eyes. I said the Josh Emmett one already. A lot of good fights for sure. Even a lot of good like first rounds fights that made it almost feel like it was a fight of the year candidates. But we had so many of them. We had a lot of good fights. We had a lot of good. Oh, Darren Till and Robert Whittaker. That was an amazing fight as well. Excuse me. If there was a crowd for that fight, they would have gone nuts for sure because it was so back and forth. So that's another one. Even Robert Whittaker and Jared Cannonier was a good one.
Mhm.
I know Habib dominated Justin Gaethje. Well, he did, but Justin Gaethje had his shots. He rocked Habib a couple times. The leg kicks. If you had crowds for fights like that, those would be considered kind of fights of the years as well. So those are definitely good
Right.
to watch. But yeah, so many good fights this year, 100%. But we have our two big awards to give out. These are so hard. I'm telling you guys, the amount of research we have to do into things we have to look at and to think about pick these awards, because there's been so many fighters, women and men, who both deserve these awards. And we'll maybe name some honorable mentions as well. But these two right here that we both came to an agreement on just had the most amazing years, the most amazing year, and a year to where people were struggling to have fights, and they took every advantage that they could to make sure they got on cards, to make sure they got wins. And they both went undefeated this year. And these are two people who are not champions. Usually they give that award to, usually some people give that award to somebody who defended their belt a couple times. You know, maybe Davison Figueiredo, because all four of his fights were title fights. He went 3-0-1 because one was a draw. They would give it to him because he's a champion. Valentina, she defended her title twice. But, you know, it's about the competition that you fight as well, and just the role and how you finishing people. It's a different combination to how this award is chosen. But Nick, do you want to go ladies first, or do you want to do men first? What doesn't matter to me. You tell me.
I mean, it's always ladies first, right?
That's right. I was praying you gave that answer. So
I'm gonna let you announce though, because I feel like you haven't opened the envelope. You know, I feel like you should be granted that opportunity.
let me see here. Let me see if the what the envelope says here.
Female Fighter of the Year.
Should I have a Steve Harvey moment here and just announce the wrong name and just be like,
No, please, God, no, don't have any of those moments. No. Don't have to retract from your
mistake
from your reading.
No, our female fighter of the year, and I'll announce it, and Nick, you can talk about her a little bit, and I'll talk about her some more. From the UFC flyweight division, Lauren Murphy is our 2020 female fighter of the year. Nick, some words on Mrs. Lauren Murphy.
I mean, I think there's a lot of people that we saw this year that took advantage of the opportunities that came their way. But she just shined in every one. She went 3-0 this year, rather close to. I mean, they had some good breaks in between. She fought once in February, once in June, and once in October. So a good amount of spacing in between. But yeah, she did really well this year. I felt like she was somebody that is going to continue to progress in what's kind of maybe been like a shaky start, but like she's going to continue to build on the success that she has these last 2 years. And yeah, she's just, it's kind of hard. I mean, I know there's other examples that we can think of, but she's the one that stuck out most to me.
Yeah, and what growth that she's shown. She could have been breakthrough fighter of the year as well. She could have had both awards 100%, because I remember Lauren Murphy being in that 135-pound division and just kind of like lost in that space of that. And then she went and dropped down to 125 as soon as that weight division opened, and went on such a streak and beating really good high-level females in that weight division, getting herself to, I think she's ranked number 3 now in the UFC flyweight division for women. And she can be fighting for a title next, if anything, against Valentina. I know they're giving Valentina Jessica Andrade, but I think we give Lauren Murphy, Caitlin Chookagian, they fought before once in 135. I think it'd be a completely different fight at 125. Lauren Murphy has changed camp. She now trains down in Texas, and it's completely changed her game to where her striking and her grappling is just amazing. So good. Very proud of her for having the year that she has had. I've had her on the podcast before. She's such a kind heart, kind soul. She's ready to take on a fight as soon as the UFC is ready to give her one. I don't have any news to break, but hopefully we'll have some news to break about her and an upcoming fight as well. Lauren Murphy is our 2020 female fighter of the year. Runner-up, definitely Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern had such a great year. Yeah. She was undefeated this year. She came in, got two submission victories, and then one decision recently. Went 3-0. She's ranked now in the top 10 of the UFC women's strawweight division. She's making weight like it's nothing. She used to have that issue in making weight. She missed weight twice, I believe. Once in the UFC and once out of the UFC, outside of the UFC, or maybe it was twice. But anyways, she definitely broke through her division. Anybody else you would give maybe an honorable mention to as well?
Not necessarily. Mackenzie was my honorable mention for this division. I think that she definitely had a good year. She's just obviously she's skyrocketing so soon in her career, and she's still got a long way to go. But I think Lauren Murphy, what really topped it off for me was, Lauren Murphy. She's experienced. She's 37, and she's still killing it. So I think to be able to perform. Whereas Mackenzie Dern is still younger, to be able to perform this late in your career and get the results, I think that's something that was admirable for me for Lauren Murphy. But Mackenzie Dern, definitely.
Yeah, especially I forget about that sometimes. Lauren Murphy's age, and she's performing as if she's still in her 20s, rocking it.
That's the thing. You wouldn't even think that she's 37.
Yeah, she looks completely amazing, and I think that change of camps was probably one of the biggest things that changed her game. Like she just looks like a whole different person mentally too, because a lot of things with fighters are mental. And one thing that I highlighted her when I was speaking to her was her husband being in her corner and having him there. And sometimes people don't fight too well with their significant others in their corner, and she just performed so much well. And she knows that he knows everything that she's gonna do. And she said that in the interview that I had with her. He knows every single move that she's gonna do, and him knowing that is just completely amazing. So I'm definitely Lauren Murphy was an amazing choice. But we got our big. Well, this one is just as equally as big as a woman. This man.
Come on now.
This man, of course, just as equal. This man right here, my Lord. I want to say something, but then it's going to give it away. So I'm going to say some other things. I did not expect this year would go the way that this guy how he came into the UFC, because the way that Dana White spoke about him and the way Dana White thought he would perform was completely opposite to how his year was. I remember him being on Contender Series. He was fighting. He was doing a good job, but he just kept talking. He was just talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. And just like, man, can you fight? Can you just keep fighting? Like, stop talking. And Dana White had felt the same exact way. He talked about it after the fight. But then he got an opportunity against Thiago Santos in 2019. Did really well against a guy at Thiago Santos who was formerly ranked #1 in the light heavyweight division and fought John Jones for a title. Did really well against him. He didn't win, but did really well against him. Came into this year hot and ready. Anytime they needed him to be on a card, he was there. He fought in twice in 2 weeks at one point. He went from one Saturday to fight, and next Saturday he's like, you know what? I'll take another fight as well. Same thing as Hazma. This man right here, the Smack Man. The Smack Man, always ready to smack somebody in there. Oh, every time he says that, it just gets me so excited. I know it sounds really weird, but I don't care. I'm gonna say it. Nick, no, actually, let me announce it before you
Go
say
ahead,
a word. Our male fighter of the year, the Trailblazer, fighting out of Texas, but originally from California, Kevin Holland, male fighter of the year. Kevin Holland, congratulations. Oh, we got to clap it up for him. We got to get a little clap for Kevin Holland. We didn't give a clap for Kevin Holland. That's amazing award, my guy. Amazing award, my guy. But anything you'd like to say about Kevin?
Yeah, I just think we talked about this a lot. I know that there's a lot of people that I think there's a lot of people who are in agreement with this and a lot of people who are not. A lot of times you look at the title fighters to look for fighters of the year, but 5 fights, 5-0 in a really weird not just season, a really weird year with all the delays and everything. And every time he had the opportunity to shine, he went ahead and he took it. He, like I said, 5 fights in 1 year. That's nuts. And especially this year that we had, we had a year in COVID, and not only that, but he was always ready to bounce back. He had missed his fight against Hermanson with COVID. And then that's where and once he got better, he jumped in and fought Jacare, and your knockout of the year. with his performance
Right?
there. So I just felt that he dominated it in ways beyond the physical aspect, just the mental aspect of having been prepared, been able to take fights and change your opponents so quickly and still yet outshine them in such a short amount of time. I think it really is the reason why we were able to agree on this, that Kevin Holland is the fighter of the year.
Yeah, and one thing too, why I chose him as KO of the year, he actually KO'd Joaquin Buckley earlier this year. So if you're gonna KO the guy, they say they got the KO of the year. You're getting the KO of the year. You're gonna get that easily for me. So just like you said, 5-0 this year. Could have been 6-0 this year. One of his opponents passed out before they made it to the cage. Could have been 6-0. I think he would have beat that opponent for sure. Had finished majority of his opponents except one. He had one performance against Daniel Stewart, which was a split decision. But besides that, he's beating everybody. He's got to fight against Derek Brunson for him to break into that top 8 of that middleweight division. He called out Israel Adesanya when he came to his fight. He said, "Hey, I'm going to see you soon, boy," in the Yoel Romero voice. You know, see you soon, boy, at some point in time. And Kevin is such a guy that likes to talk in the cage. I would love to see him fight Israel Adesanya because Israel talks well. Can you imagine that smack talk that's going to happen in that octagon? Lord have mercy. What a year. I know everybody wants the champion to be fighter of the year, but no, you fight that in an amount of 7 months, you go 5-0, you make weight that many times. So many guys didn't even make weight this year, had trouble struggling. They knew 2 months ahead of time that they had to fight and didn't make weight. Kevin Holland did it on 2 weeks notice sometimes 1 week notice, and that shows you how disciplined of a fighter that he is. Got to give it up for Kevin Holland. Another clap for Kevin Holland because he had such an amazing year. I got to do it 2 times. We appreciate you, Kevin Holland. Hopefully, can talk to you soon at some point. Would love to have you on if you ever see this. But you are the Mystic Hours male fighter of the year. Nick, I think that is all the awards we have to give tonight. I don't think I'm forgetting any one of them. I don't think we forgot anything. Yeah,
I got two. I got two that I'd like to. Yeah,
Go ahead.
I got two. So I got a couple, maybe just like honorable mentions.
Yeah.
But one guy that I did want to mention is Glover Teixeira. As far as upset of the year, both against Lionheart Smith and against Thiago Santos. Here's a guy that we're talking about age. He's 41, still dominating. The biggest threat now in his division. He's number 1 contender in his division now, right?
Yep,
if
he's
I'm not
number
mistaken.
1. Yeah, number 1.
So,
He's number 1.
So yeah, I definitely want to give him a shout out. I guess you would say upsets of the year because nobody really expects him to win. And then as far as other mentions, I think submission of the year is an award that I've seen in other places this year. And I actually wanted to give it, but it's weird. I don't want to give it to the person who actually got the submission. I want to give it to the person who went out like a champ with the submission, and that's Joseph Benavidez against Davison Figueiredo, who did not tap, who knew that this was his moment, and unfortunately it didn't go his way, but no way he was going out like that. Anybody else would have tapped out, but it just goes to show the champion he is at heart and how dedicated he is, Joseph Benavidez, against Davison Figueiredo, to just take that choke and black out.
Yeah, that was a rough one to watch. I literally didn't watch that fight again because I just don't want to see Joe go out like that, but I get his heart of a warrior for doing something like that. I wanted to another submission for sure I want to highlight of last year was Khabib versus Justin Gaethje. Never thought in a million years that Justin Gaethje was going to get submitted. If anything, I thought maybe Khabib would catch him, something like that, or he would catch Khabib. Khabib went in there and almost submitted him in the first round and then got him in the second round whole-handedly, very easily. Unbelievable.
Convincingly, too.
And
the way he did it, that was a triangle hold on purpose to not intentionally hurt him because his family was there. And it just goes to show the legend that he is, Khabib Nurmagomedov, that maybe he's retired, maybe he's not, whether we've seen the last of him or not. That was an incredible submission, and both from a performance standpoint and from a respect standpoint, the man is respect personified.
And that leads into my other honorable mention for Coach of the Year, and I feel like he enough recognition because Habib is so associated with AKA they forget that his dad was one of his biggest coaches. So definitely honorable mention for Coach of the Year is Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov. God rest his soul. R.I.P. to the man. But this guy has put together such an amazing team of people that he has. Of guys that he has, from Islam Makhachev to Habib Nurmagomedov to Umar Nurmagomedov. So many of these guys coming out of that camp there in Dagestan that he's put together, that he's trained since they were younger. And for me, he's forever going to be a Coach of the Year for what he did for these guys' lives and how they're going to be going forward in the UFC and in their MMA careers and just life period, and how respectable of human beings that they are. It's just unbelievable to see. So Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov for sure. Honorable mention for Coach of the Year. Definitely got to do that. What else? What else? Am I missing anything or submissions? There was a couple other. There was a flying submission as well last year, but that was so close to the end of the year. But definitely give him credit for that. I forgot his name. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there was a flying triangle that we had. But besides that, yeah, that was a pretty. We had a pretty good year last year. Would you say that was one of the best years in a time period that you've watched MMA?
Yeah, I mean, I've only been watching it for about 10 years. It definitely, for having watched
Only
it,
10 years?
I guess
that's a good amount of time.
only 10 years. But I mean, I feel like I've gotten late, especially with some of the, UFC elitists and everything like that.
I don't think you're a casual. I think you're more than casual now at this point. Come on now.
Well, I'm like a casual pro, casual plus, like it's like I'm not at your status or Aldrich or Serge's status, but I try to contribute what I can, But yeah, man, this year, I don't know if it was just because we were deprived of sports early on, in general, and being such a big sports fan, especially of this sport, and but it honestly, like, in a year that probably would have put out the highest improbabilities of having such wonderful events. Dana White really did Dana White and the whole UFC did a phenomenal job of putting all this together, and they're continuing to do a wonderful job so early on to this year and already having 10 events set up. But last year had to be, I think it's definitely the most invested. I don't know if it's one of those you don't know what you have until you lose it kind of things. But it was definitely one of the most invested years in regards to UFC, and that since I've been watching it.
Yeah, and crowd or no crowd, to me, and I've been watching MMA for almost 20 years now. My God, it makes me feel old. Like that is just unbelievable.
We're up there.
How much that is just crazy. But before, actually, we have our female fighter of the year joining us to accept her award. She is here in the house. Lauren Murphy.
Hello.
Welcome.
What's up, Lauren? Congrats.
So much. Congratulations for winning UFC MMA female fighter of 2020.
Thank you.
If you have anything you want to say accepting this award.
No, thank you guys so much. I feel super honored, and it was an awesome year for us, and I hope the next one is even better. But yeah, thank you very much for thinking of me and including me in your awards show. I feel really honored, and it just reaffirms everything that I've been working for. It was an awesome year. Absolutely. And it was a pretty easy choice for us to agree on, for sure. And you had such an amazing year, amazing wins. We can tell different change in your mindset and how you approach everything. And hopefully you get a title shot this year. Are you in any talks to have another fight? Is it anything happening? Want to break some news? I wish I had some news to break, but I don't right now. I just got back from, so I just started getting back into practice a couple weeks ago. And we're going to see what happens in the division, and I'll be ready for anything. But for sure, the title this year.
That's why you're female fighter of the year.
Thank you.
Thanks. That's right. Hopefully you get that title shot this year. We hope to see you do it. Lauren, thank you so much for accepting this award. We appreciate you so much.
Thanks for believing in me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lauren.
Take care and good luck, Lauren.
That was awesome. Lauren Murphy coming in to accept the award in the house. What perfect timing. What perfect time. We appreciate you so much, Lauren Murphy. You deserve that, and you deserve many things this year for the time being to come. Guys, that was the Mystic Hour, first annual Mystic Hour MMA Awards. We appreciate you for joining us. Of course, we have so much podcasting to do this year. Hopefully we get some fans back in arenas. But we have amazing cards coming up from next weekend, the weekend following that, February, March. We talked about that before. We'll be breaking them down. We'll have some guest appearances by some more people coming up. Me and Nick will be here on, I'm not going to say what day it's going to be. It might change. We don't know, but we will be here at least once a week to get down, boogie down with you guys, of course, on, the MMA Island, baby, because we are on MMA Island now. So we appreciate, of course, my guys at MMA Island for allowing us to be on this platform. We appreciate the people that came in and out of the show who are still here. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate the fighters, the coaches, everybody that's watched of last year, of course, for tuning in. We did not expect for this to be a thing as it is now, and we appreciate you guys so much. Nick, go ahead. Your floor is yours.
I just want to thank. You're not gonna cry. I just want to thank. I'm trying to work on my best John Anik voice. I'm never gonna accomplish that. No, but just really, I want to thank everybody that has joined us on this journey and a journey that we're just really getting started on. It's been really fun for me. Honestly, it's made me see the game in a whole different way. Not just from watching it from an entertaining standpoint, but actually having to, discuss and really study the fights that I tune into, that we've been tuning into almost every weekend. And yeah, man, I'm just appreciative of this opportunity from you and from MMA Island for the support, and also the support of everybody that views us, all the other fight podcasts that are out there. Just, people supporting each other. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we couldn't do it. I couldn't do it without you, and I appreciate you, of course, as well, so much. We have so much more stuff to talk about sooner this year. I can't wait to even get bigger stages and talk to more people, interview more fighters, talk to more fighters. It's going to be an amazing year. I can feel it already. I know there's a lot of madness happening in this world, but I know in my heart, and I try to manifest it every day. United, we will stand at some point in time. I know that will happen. Just everybody, love each other, give as much respect as you can to the people around you. It will show, it will just, make your heart just so much more pure, and we're going to be okay over here in the United States. But to the people watching worldwide, we love you all so much, and we appreciate you guys. This will be on streaming platforms. It will be on YouTube right after this. It'll be on Facebook. It'll be on Spotify. It'll be on iTunes. It'll be everywhere. Thank you to the fighters that accepted and commentators that accepted their awards. We will send you your awards at some point in time. I promise there's going to be Mystic Awards. There's going to be official ones. But from Nick and I, guys, we love you so much. We appreciate you guys so much. I don't know what else more I can say. Once again, I don't want to cry. I'm fine. Just kidding. But
I want to start cueing the wrap-up music. Wrap it up
the
music.
Wrap-up music. Yeah, you're right. I got to wrap it up. I got to shut up. All right, guys. And we are out, guys. Boom.